Welcome to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast. This is episode 25, The Four Sacred Pillars. This week's Celtic goddess is Blynewith. Blynewith is the Welsh goddess of beauty. Her name means flower face. In the Mabinogion, she is created from oak, broom, and meadowsweet to be Lulawgaif's wife. She's later transformed into an owl by Gwydion after she falls in love with Gronwer and conspires to murder Lugh. She is the goddess of lost loves and betrayal. The owl is her sacred bird, and oak, broom, and meadowsweet are her sacred herbs. Invoke Blynewith in matters of betrayal and jealousy. If she has come into your life, her beauty can be seductive, but beware of her treachery. Although Druidry began as a religious and spiritual path of the ancient Celtic peoples of Europe, modern Druidry and Taibhsears come from all races and cultures. Everyone has their own opinion of what it is to be a Druid, but each of them also shares a few things in common within the framework of the Way of the Taibhsear. If you could distill these characteristics down into a few principles shared by all Druids, you would probably come up with something the Order of the Taibhsear calls the Four Sacred Pillars. These four sacred pillars are: 1. Reverence for nature and our ancestors. This means that Taibhsears hold nature in all of her forms to be sacred. Taibhsears recognize that we are not separate from nature. What we do to the web of life, we do to ourselves. We treat all life forms as sacred brothers and sisters on a journey together. Does this mean that Taibhsears worship nature? That would depend on what you mean by worship. Personally, I don't like the word because of the negative power dynamics it evokes. I prefer the word revere because it indicates respect without suggesting dominance. From this perspective, we are all partners with nature and its creatures. Think of the respect you may hold for an honored elder grandmother or grandfather, and you'll gain an understanding of the difference between the word reverence and the word worship. While you may hold respect or even reverence for an elderly relative, you probably wouldn't worship them. Likewise, a healthy and emotionally secure ancestor would not want or require worship, but communion. Such a communion would involve common reverence for each other and for the divine in each. 2. Respect for diversity and individuality. This pillar recognizes the right of the individual to self-determination. While the path I walk is right for me, it may not be the right one for you. By respecting your right to determine your own individual path, I honor the diversity in the universe and in you. By expressing tolerance, I allow you the freedom to be who you are, and I ask that you grant me the same freedom. The Wiccan Rede expresses this idea as "and it harm none, do what you will." In the Order of the Taibhsear, This idea is expressed in primum non nocere, which is first do no harm. Imagine what a different world we could create if we all could just simply agree not to harm each other. Note also, however, that this respect for diversity does not imply tolerance of intolerance. My intolerance of another's intolerance is not intolerance in itself, it is justice. Our order strives for social justice, and one of the principles of social justice is to proactively challenge intolerance wherever we see it, so that all people have an equal chance at happiness and growth. So if there are ideologies, religions, or just simply dogmas that are being intolerant of the rights of others, it is our duty as Taibhsears to challenge those unjust and unfair and intolerant ideals. 3. Service to the grove, to the community, and to the world. One of the aspects of recognizing our part in the web of life is the realization that we are all interconnected. If I work for the good of my own grove, my own community, and the world, I ultimately benefit myself by improving living conditions for all. Conversely, if I act in a way that harms my community, I ultimately harm myself. This is similar to another Wiccan principle known as the threefold law, which states that whatever you send out returns to you threefold. This idea has also been expressed in Christianity as what you sow, you reap. In the way of the Taibhsear, the idea is expressed in terms of balance. If you act in a way that unbalances nature, nature naturally acts to correct that balance. Taibhsears actually work for social and environmental change so that ultimately life improves for all. In doing so, we restore balance to nature and to the world. The fourth and final sacred pillar of the order of the Taibhsear is spiritual and personal growth. As a spiritual path, the way of the Taibhsear offers many opportunities for learning and self-improvement. A goal of the way of the Taibhsear is to always seek the imbus or the awen. Imbus is a Gaelic word roughly translated as divine inspiration or spiritual strength. The imbus is the means by which we seek the beauty in the world around us. It's also the inspiration that leads us to seek visions and to walk in the other world. From a Taibhsear's perspective, knowledge and inspiration go hand in hand. Where knowledge meets inspiration, there is wisdom. So the imbus or the awen can guide us to wisdom when we seek it in knowledge and in truth. The four sacred pillars may be summarized succinctly as reverence, respect, service, and growth. So in answer to the question, what is the way of the Taibhsear? I would say that if you have a deep respect for nature and for our ancestors, and an abiding love of diversity and individual freedom, and if you're interested in personal growth, and if you would like to use these interests for the betterment of yourself, your community, and the world at large, then the way of the Taibhsear just might be the path you're seeking. The four sacred pillars are the core ethical principles of the order of the Taibhsear. They are the only beliefs required for membership in our order. Because of this, students of the order of the Taibhsear are asked to think and reflect deeply on what the four sacred pillars mean to them. The questions we use for such reflecting are as follows. In what ways do you show reverence for nature, for your ancestors, for all life? In what ways do you show respect for diversity and individuality? Are there any challenges you face in this area? In what ways do you serve your grove, assuming you have one? What ways do you serve your community and the world at large? In what ways do you seek spiritual and personal growth? If you're contemplating membership in the Order of the Taibhsear, ponder these questions and see what answers come to you. order of the Taibhsear, there are 15 virtues that guide our ethical principles. These virtues are derived from the 4 sacred pillars, and they are as follows. 1. Trokar. Trokar means mercy. It's from trog and kar, literally friendly to pity. This is the ability to sympathize and empathize with others. 2. Pheran. Pheran means justice. This is derived from the word for truth and means the ability to discern the truth in a situation. This ability then leads to justice. 3. Kosmail. Kosmail means similar or fitting. It originally comes from the Old Celtic word com samalis, which means like for like. In this sense, it means making the punishment fit the crime, not in the eye for an eye sense, but in the sense of not punishing too harshly. It's the Druidic equivalent of not engaging in cruel and unusual punishment. 4. Quivshek. Quivshek means conscientious or scrupulous. It comes from kubus, or modern koise, which means confession or examination of conscience. The word literally means responsibility to self and to others. 5. Fasad. Fasad means steadiness and stability. The literal translation is having a seat under oneself. This is the quality of not being easily swayed or indecisive. 6. Eslabra. Eslabra means generous or liberal. The noun is eslabre. Originally from the Old Celtic, it means out of chains, also meaning no boundaries or no limits. The idea here is that you can't place limits on your generosity. 7 is Gart. Gart means generosity, hospitality, or open-handedness. Its literal meaning is warmth and friendliness. This virtue means acceptance and openness of other people. This is one of the 4 sacred pillars, respect for diversity and the rights of others. 8 is Fialnek, which means noble face. It's a combination of fial, meaning faithful or noble, and enek, which means face or honor. It means politeness or courteous and noble behavior. 9 is Seshak. It means sturdy, strong, or steadfast. It's someone who stands his ground and is not easily intimidated. 10 is Leshak, which means helpful and beneficent. The idea here is to seek actively to help other people instead of waiting for them to ask. 11 is Itir. This means power, ability, competence, and skill. It's someone who is a true Renaissance person, skilled in many areas. A person who strives to excel in everything he or she does. 12 is Yondrik, which means honest or trustworthy. It's a person whose word can be believed, of good reputation, or someone who is above reproach. 13 is Soya. Soya means eloquent, or literally good with the tongue. This virtue is important to the bardic tradition and refers to the mastery of good language, skill in poetry, prose and song, and gifted in the art of persuasion, or some may call it blarney. 14 is Forusta, which means established base. This means someone who is well-rounded, sedate and composed, one who is calm and composed at all times, not ruled by the emotions or wild mood swings. 15th and final is Verbrechtag, which means giving correct judgment. It's from fear for truth and breath for judgment. So Verbrechtag means not allowing personal bias to interfere with the determination of right and wrong.
Out on the moor, one winter's night, a shepherd walked his weary way, eyes straining in the fading light for one lost lamb who'd gone astray. Close at hand he heard a bleat, and stooping low he found the lamb, but also, swaddled at his feet, there lay a helpless little man. Although surprised, he understood, for well he knew the tales of old. The child was not of human blood. Here lay a piskie, lost and cold, his family nowhere to be seen. The shepherd, being a kindly man, wrapped the child in his coat of green and hurried home with boy and lamb. He gave the child everything and loved him like he was his own, and as the winter turned to spring he marvelled at how much he'd grown. And as the boy grew fit and strong, the shepherd's fortunes multiplied. All through the golden summer long, the piskie and the shepherd thrived. In autumn, at the close of day, sat by the fire they heard a voice, calling, calling, Coleman Grey! The piskie rose, he had no choice. Though silent all the year he spoke, my father calls, I must away. He wrapped himself in his leaf-green cloak, and never more was seen Coleman Grey. But on the moor, at dark of night, if by chance you go astray, and in the distance see a light, it might just be old Coleman Grey. For the charity of one kind man, he strides across the moor alone, with lantern and with staff in hand, to lead all straying lambs back home.
The earth path of the way of the Taibhsear involves our relationship with the natural world. There are 7 virtues concerning the earth path. If you would like to explore the earth path virtues, over the coming week, spend one day with each of the virtues listed below, using the format we're about to discuss. Day 1. Spend this day with Trokar, mercy. Today you find one way to be friendly to pity for the natural world. Maybe it involves visiting an animal shelter, or making a donation to an environmental organization, or recycling, or any other environmental activity. Also on day 1, spend some time with Farewin, or justice. Speak the truth about an environmental issue that concerns you. You may write a letter to a newspaper, or tell a friend about the issue, or post a blog about it, or find any other way that allows you to make the truth known about your cause. There will be 2 virtues for day 2 as well. The first of these is Kosmail. Kosmail means similar or fitting. On this day, express your gratitude to the Mother Goddess in some way. You might offer a libation to a tree or another plant, or plant a tree, or clean up a roadside, or any other expression of gratitude for the earth's bounty. Day 2, you will also spend with Kuvshik. Kuvshik means conscientious or scrupulous. Think of at least one thing you could do to help the environment. Then vow to do it on this day. Day 3 of your week with the Earth Path virtues will be spent with Fushad and Aslabra. Fushad means steadiness and stability. On this day, day 3, resolve to find one thing you can do on a regular basis to help the environment. Examples might be recycling, using CFL or LED lights in your home instead of incandescent bulbs, or buying locally grown produce. For Aslabra, which means generous or liberal, find a way to either volunteer or donate to an environmental organization or an animal care facility or any other cause that contributes to good stewardship of the earth and of nature. The first virtue for day 4 is Gart. Gart means generosity, hospitality, and open-handedness. On this day, host or attend a group that supports environmental causes. If there are none in your area, join a message board or a Facebook group or other environmental organization. The second virtue for day 4 is Feelinish. Feelinish means noble face. Today, examine your own walk with nature. Think of one area in which you can make a positive change that honors nature. Then do it. Day 5's virtues are Sheshak and Lishak. Sheshak is sturdy, strong, and steadfast. On this day, take a stand for an environmental issue. You may write a letter to your congressional representative or your local government official, or write a blog on your stance, or any other thing you can think of to make your stance on the environment known. For Leshik, which means helpful and beneficent, seek out someone or some group who's working for change, and then offer to help them. Day 6 of your week with the Earth Path. On day 6, start with Ichir. Ichir means power, ability, competence, and skill. So today, learn at least one new skill that will help you walk more in harmony with nature. You could learn to organic garden, or medicinal use for a plant, or learn how to do anything that might help the environment or other living things. The second virtue for day 6 is Yandrik. Yandrik is honest and trustworthy. Vow to yourself to continue to exercise the skill of being honest and trustworthy and speaking the truth to power where environmental issues are concerned. Day 7 and your final day of spending a week with the Earth Path virtues will be spent with 3 virtues. The first of these virtues is Soya, which means eloquent, or literally good with the tongue. The second is Forsta, which means established base. And the third is Verbrethik, or giving correct judgment. Using all 3 of these virtues, write a blog or essay on an environmental topic, an animal rights issue, or on anything about living more closely with nature. Practice your powers of eloquence and honor your commitment to the Druid path in the essay. Practice the art of correct judgment by examining both sides of the Suppose you could create your own moral code to build a perfect utopian society. What sort of world would you create that would give everyone an equal and fair chance at success and happiness? How would you construct a society in which everyone is respected? The American philosopher John Bordley Rawls came up with a creative answer to this question. Imagine that before you were born, you were somewhere in an extra-dimensional waiting area. In this other world, there is a veil of ignorance that keeps you from seeing where you are about to be born, and into what family, and into what race or ethnicity, and into what social status. and even into what gender. There's no way for you to determine anything about the life you're about to be born into. What Rawls asked is this: what sort of society would you need to construct so that no matter what station in life you're born to, you have an equal chance of success and happiness? As John Rawls puts it, no one knows his place in society, his class position or social status, nor does he know his fortune and the distribution of natural assets and abilities, his intelligence and strength, and the like. In this thought experiment, the veil of ignorance prevents us from seeing what our fortunes might be once we're born into this society. In doing so, it strips away most of the things that modern American society use in making determinations of social success. If you don't know ahead of time whether you'll be black or white, or Hispanic, or Asian, or any of a multitude of races and ethnicities, then you'd want to construct a society in which race and ethnicity is irrelevant. If you don't know ahead of time whether you'll be born rich, poor, or middle class, then you'd want to construct a society in which everyone has equal financial and economic opportunities. If you don't know ahead of time whether you'll be born male, female, or some other gender, then you'd want to construct a society in which every person of every gender has an equal opportunity to love whom they choose to love. The ultimate lesson of Rawls' veil of ignorance is that if we would not like to live in a society that discriminates against us, we shouldn't want to create a society that discriminates against others. Think about the sort of society we could create if everyone agreed to abide by the 4 sacred pillars of the Order of the Taibhsear. These sacred pillars may be summarized as respect, reverence, service, and growth. If we all shared a common reverence for all life, then it wouldn't matter what our station in life was and what station in life a person was born into. All people would be treated with equal reverence with regards to the rights to life and happiness. This reverence would also extend to all other living things. If we all shared a common respect for the diversity and the rights of others, then it wouldn't matter what race or ethnicity or gender a person was born into. All people would be treated with equal respect, as would all other living things. If we all cared a common love of service to others, then it wouldn't matter what sort of economic or financial status a person was born into. All people would have an opportunity to serve others and to be served by others. If we all shared a common interest in personal, spiritual, and community growth, then it wouldn't matter what sort of community a person was born into. All people would have the opportunity to grow together as a village and as a tribe. As we all grew together, we would learn from each other that the best way to strengthen our rights and the rights of the individual is to strengthen the communities in which an individual lives. The Order of the Taibhsear makes no apologies for being a liberal and socially progressive order. Such a viewpoint is the most ethical and sustainable form of ideology. It's the best way to assure the greatest good for the greatest number of people. It's also the best way to assure the future of the planet, our Earth Mother. meditation is used in matters associated with the hearth and the home, or with physical reality, or with fate and destiny. It is helpful when you are seeking stability or consistency in your life. The direction of Earth is north. It may help when performing this meditation to face north if possible. The season associated with the Awan of the Earth is winter. Ground and center by picturing yourself surrounded by a forest. As you continue to breathe, see the forest filling with snow all around you. The evergreens glisten with this new fallen snow as you continue to bring your consciousness into this space and this time. As you continue to breathe, notice that in this place where you find yourself, the cold air of the snow-covered forest has caused your breath to become visible. As you continue to breathe, you watch each exhalation rise up into the sky, up into the heavens to mingle with the sun, moon, and stars. Your breath is becoming one with the universe as you continue to ground and center. As you ground yourself, you gradually become aware of the heartbeat of Mother Earth. You can hear it all around you, enveloping you and surrounding you. You can feel it deep in your bones. Your body begins to resonate with the heartbeat of the earth. The Awan of Earth is the Awan of honor. As you seek stability and consistency in your own life, think about what honor means to you. Meditate on your own code of honor for a time. In what ways do you strive to live by your own code of honor? In what ways have you fallen short of keeping your own code of honor? How could the enlightenment that is the Awan help you to more consistently live a life of honor? How could a life of honor bring you consistency and stability? The Awan of the earth is the Awan of lawful action. Its inspiration led to the code of chivalry practiced by Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. It's the Awan of truth and justice throughout time. How might lawful action help you to live a life of honor and balance? The Awen of the earth is the Awen of the warrior. The warrior fights for hearth, home, family, and tribe. This is the warrior's challenge and the warrior's duty. But the warrior also fights a battle within. It is a battle between the dark and the light, between chaos and order. How might the way of the warrior help you to live the life that you were born to live? Apphalak is the father god of the Modron. Modron means the mother goddess. She's the mother of the Maven, or the golden child, whose birth we celebrate at the autumnal equinox. Apphalak is therefore the grandfather of the Maven. Apphalak means apple tree. He's associated with Avalon, the Isle of the Apples, and is therefore a god of seers and vision seekers. Since he is also a god of the earth, he reminds us that before we can seek visions and dreams in other realms, we must first be firmly rooted in this physical reality. Only then may we use the warrior way to seek out other worlds, other destinies, and other fates. Danu's gift from the Awen of the earth is the Stone of Destiny. This stone was said to be kept at Tara, and it would cry out when the rightful king sat upon it. As such, the Awen of the earth is the Awen of destiny and sovereignty, from which you may learn the path of your own soul and your relationship to our Earth Mother, the Goddess. As you end this meditation on the Awen of the earth, ponder the meaning of your own destiny. How might the goddess help guide you along the way? How might the Awen of the earth aid you in living a life of honor? How might the warrior way help you to find your own balance and stability in life? As this meditation draws to a close, give thanks to Danu and Apphalak for the divine and ancient wisdom they have shared with you today. When you are ready, open your eyes, secure in the knowledge that you have taken another firm step on the warrior way. In the Way of the Taibhsear, we use the Celtic tree alphabet known as the Ogham. In this section of the podcast, we will present one character of the Ogham each week, offering information on the meaning of each letter of the Ogham alphabet, trees associated with each letter, the healing and magical properties of each tree, gods and goddesses associated with each tree and letter, and the divinatory meanings of each letter of the Ogham. Since we will be discussing medicinal uses of the plants in this segment of the podcast, please remember that herbal medicine requires caution and practice. None of the medicinal uses discussed on the Way of the Taibhsear podcast should be attempted by a novice. Some parts of the plants of the Ogham are poisonous, and people with allergies should also be aware of the potential allergic reactions to plants. If you are interested in herbal medicine, find a skilled practitioner and take lessons. Do not attempt to use medicinal plants without the supervision of an expert. The letters CH in the Ogham alphabet are represented by Coed. The alternate name for Coed is Eveth. Its divinatory meaning is achievement, accomplishment, and victory. The Order of the Taibhsear uses the tulip poplar for this letter and calls it Coed. Some orders use aspen for this letter. These orders generally refer to the letter as Eveth when aspen is used. Coed is the 21st letter of the Ogham alphabet and the first letter of the last grouping of 5, known as the Four Feta. Healing properties. Use a tea made of poplar buds for treating fevers. This tea is also useful in treating arthritis. An infusion of poplar leaves helps treat diarrhea. Poplar buds exude a sticky substance. This sap can be used as a stimulant. Make a tincture of this sticky sap from the buds for chest complaints or rheumatism. The sap is also high in vitamin C and may be used to treat scurvy. Make a balm of the sap to heal bruises and swellings more quickly. Magical uses. Black poplar aids in divination. A wand or Ogham fuse made of black poplar will help you to see the future. Rune sticks carved on this wood will be powerful. The abilities to protect, shield, and resist temptation are poplar's magic gifts. Poplar also aids in overcoming fear. Carry a dried tulip poplar blossom in your crane bag to ward off fears and anxieties, or carve a walking staff out of poplar for the same purpose. Poplar buds carried in a bag worn over the heart help to heal a broken heart. A charm made of poplar wood eases stress in the life of the one who wears it. Poplar wood is traditionally used for carving statues of the goddess. If poplar is used for magic tools, never let the wood touch the ground once it is harvested. This discharges the energy and will make it useless for your purposes. Coed stands within all 3 realms and sees the past, present, and future all at once. Poplar magic is good for attracting the sweet things in life. It's concerned with seeing the bigger picture, zooming out and gaining some perspective on a situation. The magic of the poplar is the magic of the earth goddess herself. To work with poplar is to work with the earth goddess, uniting the forces of chaos and order, in perfect balance and in infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Celtic gods associated with this tree are the goddess Blodeuwedd and the Celtic thunder god Tyrannus. You've been listening to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast on International Pagan Radio, where it's all pagan all the time. This has been episode 25, The Four Sacred Pillars. Music on this episode featured The Owl in Winter by Shenka the Vate from the album Mist on the Mountain, Coleman Gray by A Tiding of Magpies, Wherever She Goes by Mary Jane, and Native Son by John Fry. The Way of the Taibhsear is the official podcast of the Order of the Taibhsear. You can learn more about us at taibhsear.com. That's TAIBHSEAR.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is a podcast about Druidry and paganism as practiced by the Order of the Taibhsear. Paganism is a wide and diverse community, and we don't claim to speak for all pagans. You can get in touch with us at the show at podcast@taibhsear.com. That's podcast at TAIBHSEAR.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is sponsored by Elder Grove Seminary, offering the best in pagan education with online bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in ministry and divinity. Learn more about Elder Grove Seminary at eldergrove.org. Until next time, blessings of the ancestors.